Hello, sixth grade science teachers. I hope you all are excited for a good year or whenever you're viewing this video. I hope things are going well for you. I wanted to start this training series on our scope and sequence. So I'll go ahead and get us shared to that now so you guys can see what it is I'm talking about. And here you guys see the secondary science scope and sequence for science sixth grade. The way I've designed these is like a one-pager. You can see in one page what are we teaching for the entire year? What are the concepts, standards, everything? It's there on one page. Now, if you're like me, getting older, and you're like squinting at the screen because the font's too small, I thought about that because I was having a hard time. When you're digital, it's nice because you can zoom in, you'll be fine. But when I printed one out, it was like, that is tiny. So I created a larger print version. So if you come up to our logo here, along with this picture, if you just double click, should highlight that. And if you open up that document, what you'll see is a larger print. And now this takes up 2 pages now, where semester 1's on first page, semester 2's on the next page. But as you can see, font's a little bit larger there. So if you prefer to print that one out or use that one, the link is right up at the top logo. Give my computer a second to catch up. Everything else is the same though. You'll see it just comes down and here's quarter 3, quarter 4. And the font's just about 3 font sizes larger. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, I'll go ahead and stay on the larger print font to make sure you guys can see what I'm seeing. Just so I can quickly run through the organization. I don't think the scope and sequence is really going to be your daily use, weekly use planning guide. It really just helps you kind of frame what does my year look like, so that way I can tie in concepts together as you move forward. So first off, this is a great way to access all the actual curriculum maps. Quarter 1, that takes you to either a quarter 1 curriculum map, same there. For the most part, each quarter aligns with the unit. But you'll see here that the first unit of Discovery Ed does go a bit long. And also I know trying to get transitioned into using the resource will take a second. So it is okay during the first unit that you carry into quarter 2, which is actually pretty good because quarter 2 is actually a shorter unit. You see it only has 2 concepts. So when I designed this, I said, hey, this quarter 1, unit 1, that's going to kind of carry over into quarter 2. You should be able to get started on this concept here, but probably not finished with it. So with that being said, when I developed the unit tests, which are actually quarter tests that you'll be taking at the end of quarter 1, I really only did things this way. You won't be tested on things that are probably going to land in quarter 2. I really try to skew all my questions towards the beginning of things to make sure that we're not testing on questions we haven't gotten to yet. Hopefully that helps ease some tensions there. Okay, so this will take you to the curriculum map. I'll have separate videos to walk you guys through what that looks like, how to use it, and so forth. My pacing, this is based off of what Discovery Ed says that the pacing should be. As long as you're somewhere within this suggested pacing guide, I think you're going to be fine. But as we all know, the year gets crazy. And so things might you might fall off or be behind or somehow find your way ahead of everything. I know all the things can happen. So use that as a guide. I'm not forcing that on you, but that's kind of how Discovery Ed has paced things out. So hopefully you can find use in using that to kind of gauge where you're at. And if you're behind, maybe that's where you start looking to scrap some concepts. And if you're ahead, how can you dig in deeper into a concept so that way you're kind of more aligned with your pacing. I've also went ahead and put in links directly to Discovery Ed. We'll go ahead and look at that. You will need to make sure that you sign in with Google, but this actually takes you into the Discovery Ed concept. And I'll have a separate video as well breaking down how do you navigate Discovery Ed in a way that's useful. But as you'll find out with the curriculum map, you don't have to be a master at navigating Discovery Ed to use it. I've really helped streamline that process for you. But as you can see, now I'm in the actual concept for body systems. It takes me to the intro page. A lot of the information, in fact, most of it on this intro page, I've incorporated in the curriculum map. So you don't necessarily have to come here to kind of figure things out. I've synthesized all that in the curriculum map. It'll be in another video. So you can access those. The essential question, if you were paying attention, you saw right here. Why does my heart race when I get scared? And there it is. So again, I'm helping pull things out of Discovery Ed so it's easier. We don't have to navigate this other resource. It's all here for us. Efficiency scales. Now, this was created a couple years back. This was somebody else's project. I won't be changing or updating those, but I do think that there's some important or useful language and goals in this for pushing your students above and beyond, and for measuring if they still have room to grow. So with these, you're aiming for a 3. This is what they should be able to do. As they're progressing, they're getting these skills and concepts. And if you got a student who's really achieving, you can aim for that 4. So those can be useful for you. But again, that was before my time. I've incorporated it still within here. So use those as you find useful. I've got your standards for each concept listed here, as well as the standard breakdown linked to these. If you're a person that likes to dive in deep, really break it down, what's my cross-cutting concepts, my core ideas, you guys can look through these, and I broke it down. So this is just this one standard. You see, you don't have to sift through pages and pages to find it. It's all linked right there. And as you come down, you got performance task and the assessments. Now, the performance tasks, these are really cool. These are actually from Discovery Ed. These would be things that students could be able to do at the end of a concept. So they've developed all these skills. They learned all the vocab. You guys have talked and discussed about things. And these could be part of the way that you assess your students, because these aren't necessarily just like straight multiple choice like the quarter test will be. What these are is, okay, you've got all that understanding about whatever the concept was. So now let's go ahead and apply that to a real world situation. And so you get a bit of reading, video, images, and then the questions are actually some higher level questions. Instead of just multiple choice, they've got some drop downs, they have to write, drag and drops. So it's very dynamic. So these will be a cool way, if not your whole class, then definitely for those extension activities for students who really dig in and you want them to kind of take this on as a challenge. And these are great. Students will really learn. Or you can pull some ideas out of this and develop something on your own. So I went ahead and included those on here. And when we do the curriculum map, I'll show you where those are also linked there. This is not the only spot to find it. They do come with Spanish versions if that applies to you. And then I've also linked directly to the practice assessment and summative assessment. Now, why would I do that for this document? As a teacher, you don't want to teach to the test, right? But if you have a test already available, you want to know the language that they're using. You want to know what do they find as important in this concept. And most importantly, for the quarter tests that we're doing this year, or unit tests, whatever we're calling it, these are where I pulled the questions from. Now, I didn't pull questions like these because Illuminate does not handle different question types very well, but I have done multiple choice questions and I pulled them all from here. So this might be an example. Actually, I think this might have been one that I used, a question that's going to be in the quarter test. And so you can either assign these to students if you really use the assessment, or you can steal some of these questions to ask as do nows, or bring in some to have discussions in class. The summative ones are good because they have these higher level question types that takes a bit more thinking, kind of model that map type of questioning. So you could do this as a class. But again, now you're starting to see, okay, what is in this concept that they're trying to assess? I'm not going to want my students to be something as complex as this, where they have to select multiple things. Like, that's a bit much. But at least I'm getting some ideas for some question types. And the practice, if I come back, the practice assessment, these are typically your straight up multiple choice, a little bit simpler as well. So that gives you an idea of what to teach towards, not to, as well as giving you some good question types for do nows or things like that as you move through and you want to review. Or if you've really dove deep into the concept, you should be able to just assign those, and students should be able to do pretty good. Okay, so that's pretty much the scope and sequence. hopefully that's useful for you guys. I want to end this so it's not getting too long. We'll jump into some of the curriculum maps in the next videos, as well as using the resource Discovery Ed to be beneficial. Hopefully this video cleared up how to use this page, and good luck at whatever part of the year you are as you're watching this.